depends on, are you going from your, you want to go from your camera to that, or you want to...
or a deck from the camera to that, or a deck to that? Or a computer to that?
There's probably, there's going to be an option on there where it's just like if you were recording, same thing if you was recording for like a VHS machine.
But right now,
you take the output of your camera,
okay,
and you go into, because those are still, the DVD players still are RCA. They still record.
Okay.
Okay, so it does. So you would take the output of your camera and go into your burner and just hit record on your burner.
Okay. I got a personal question, if you don't mind. I have a DSR 80 deck.
I have one too.
All right, and what I wanted to do, they don't sell the SDI boards anymore, right? But I'm
not gonna say they don't sell them anymore. It's hard to get them.
No, it's easy to get. I got a connection.
Okay.
You can have them manufactured. They sell it in parts, and you can put it together. And it's cheaper to have somebody put it together at Sony and put it in than it is to buy it new assembled.
It's cheaper.
Trust me.
I don't deny you.
I want the internet, and they'll do it for you in TNet. You take the board, you can slap it in.
Whose shop is that in?
Sony.
Yeah, that's where they do most of the parts.
Yeah, well, so they said that they'll put it together for me.
Oh, okay.
All right, so what I was going to say is it worth getting the SDI option for that deck?
Absolutely. DSR is a good deck.
So I should get it.
I would suggest that you get it.
And then use the SDI in and get a card, like a Beckley card.
Well, I put SDI cards in all our decks, the 1800s and the 1600s when I first got when I got the Oxygen, all the 1600s didn't have SDI cards. I made sure that all 1600s had SDI cards, and all the 1800s that I purchased were having SDI cards. If you're asking me, is it better to have SDI card? Yes. You go use the SDI in and out. And make sure you get it in and out.
Right.
Okay.
And it'll give me a sharper, cleaner,
yes,
better time port.
Definitely cleaner.
And I can take that same signal and up-res it, and it should hold.
Yes.
For HD.
Yeah, because it's digital.
Okay.
Digital's digital.
That's what I kind of thought. Everybody.
Once you're in the digital world, you're in the digital world. The digital world is kind of funny. It has different,
as long as you don't lay it back to DV cam.
411. Yeah, you can do that if you want. But you can't expect the same quality.
Okay, that's okay.
You're gonna lose.
You're gonna lose if you put it back to tape.
Yes, definitely gonna lose.
Okay.
And then try to go back, to like DVD. Try to make a burn of DVD. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose again because you went from digital to analog, from analog back to digital.
So I'm better off just taking it. And whatever I have stored on a hard drive and play it out from a hard drive, or
absolutely.
take it from SDI.
If you're in the digital world and you can't, and you don't have to leave it, don't leave it. That's what I tell everybody. Stay in the digital world down the line as far as you can.
Right. Okay, so now I'm safe for the HD conversion because my camera's just 16 by 9, and it's what is it, 720 by 580,
Oh, you're talking about progressive?
It's not.
What kind of camera do you have?
DSR 500.
Hey, you're fine. That's what we call an industrial level camera.
And it doesn't have the resolution of an HD, but if you got a card, you could up-res it, and if it's digital and it came in SDI, I think it has a good color space. That's my question.
You're shooting with that. Is that the one that comes in an ENG kind of style? Yeah. Those are pretty good.
It's 2/3.
But see, his suggestion on a camera that Sony finally got the word on, the only thing that was holding back the Sony HD line was that he wasn't able to change the lens.
Right.
It's a clean camera. The PD-150s, I shot games with it. It's a real clean camera. It's a real clean record. But you get to a point where, it's not really glass. You're focusing and that's electronics, okay? But now they come out with this camera called a Z7, all right, which is basically just adding some more bells and whistles from the to Z1 to the V1 to Z7, okay? Z7 now you can change the lens, which that's going to be the big time camera. Now, up until that point, I always thought that Panasonic had a little edge on Sony, on the DV cameras, because their DVX-1 100 or 1000 was really nice. And then when you shoot progressive, that's what you see Raheem shooting a lot, looks like film all the time. He's shooting a progressive. Also, then they came out with an upgrade for 1000A. So they always had a little edge on Sony, Now Sony's the better camera in low light situations, without a doubt. Because I've done a shootout with these cameras when I was at Oxford to try to see which way we were going. But now that Sony has come out with a DV camera that you can actually change the lens, that's why, if you remember, everybody was buying Canons.
Right.
Canons, when Canons came out with the DV camera, the biggest attraction to the Canon was that you were able to change the lens. You could put a nice lens on a DV camera and even get a better look. You got a lot of the videographers like yourselves and producers, they into filters and stuff like that. You couldn't really do that with a PD-150 or the Z1 or the V1. So now they've come out with a camera that you can actually do that. That's affordable. I think the camera is like, maybe $5, $6 grand,
Okay.
without the lens, but at least you can buy the lens of your choice.
Have you heard of something? What is something called the red camera?
Yes, I have.
What is the red camera?
Red camera, this was the big deal about the red camera. Red camera, I had a lot of colleagues call me from all over the country. Okay. Anytime there's something new, I always practice that you gotta let them debug it. No matter how cheap it was. The biggest attraction was, this was a camera that could take up to 4K resolution. Everybody's like, 4K, ooh. We nowhere near broadcasting 4K resolution. So I don't know what the big attraction was with that. But it was like the camera was going for 23 grand. And, really price-wise, that was almost a steal. But that camera, was on back order from so many different people. And to me, in the first year of a new company, it's like, Sony or Panasonic or JVC or Canon or one of those people brought out this camera. This was a brand new company, okay? And their biggest draw was that, the resolution that they can go up to 4K and whatnot. And I told everybody, so you should let them debug it for about a year.
What do you think now, as of now?
It's failing.
It's failing?
It's failing all over the place. People discussing that invested a lot of money in buying 4 and 5 of those things, and now, it's buggy. It's just buggy. It's not failing, it's buggy.
Well, it runs hot, very hot. So if you ran it in the summer, you weren't going to be able to use it.
Really?
You have to cool the unit down. And it only has an ASA of equivalent to like 320, 400 ASA with film. So you have to have a lot of light.
Could I ask another question? Maybe you have a feeling about that. Like the technology, there are costs involved in getting all up to date. How do things stand across the country with public access facilities? Some are have a good franchise agreement. Some of them are mom and pop. How much is the world, in those practical levels of public access, particularly the P in the PEG Act, or PEG Act, public access? How are they doing in terms of being able to keep up with all of this transition to digital? Do you have any feel or?
Well, I only could, tell you what I hear from the conferences. And, I haven't even been to one of the conferences myself since I've been at M&N. But, from listening to Dan and everything, no one has it easy. We're considered the biggest in the world, and we don't.
What, the M&N?
Yeah.
That is the case?
Yeah, and that's based on subscribers and how many people you have in your town.
And it would have to do with budget and things like that. Right?
Well, it really depends on how many people, how many subscribers.
How many people
And
you
how many
serve.
producers you
I
have.
think the ones right after us that's really tight, almost neck and neck with us is Honolulu.
Why?
Yeah. Because they have almost the same amount that we.
So,
we probably got to about a couple of hundred, and maybe that's it.
You said something in Vermont, and people is the transition going to be, or the citizenry? How much is the citizenry going to left behind?
The franchise agreements are so.
What?
There's no standard. It's like it depends on the town that you're in. It depends on the cable company you're dealing with. It depends on your agency, your local agency that governs that type of stuff. Like we have Do It here.
Yeah.
Vermont has their own, whatever they call it. It depends. It's just too many factors to say you know, to say a blanket statement, is everybody doing good or bad? You can't really do that because it's so personalized, you know.
Are
Because
we like at the stage of the Articles of Confederation before we got a solid constitution established this country?
pretty much.
I mean, the access should be re-supported
Well,
by
you know
the
what?
citizenry as a...
I would love to see it, and it's really easy to do. I would really love to see it. I've been talking to Dan about this, to have the first national public access network.
Well, what would that mean?
Would that mean that every public access station across the country, or in the world for that fact, would be a member, just like they would be affiliates, to a national or national and international network, where everybody, just like you have, you know, with your regular broadcast networks, you have your local in Miami, you have your local in,
How
you
you
know.
know, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, but you know what? You can, the networks do it. You
Yeah,
can't tell
but-
me that we can't come up with some kind of agreement, you know, nationally, internationally, where, you know, there's a body that sits and decides, just like at the network, or what is a national
Well-
network show and what's
We're not
not.
talking
Yeah,
about
but you
one
got-
channel, we're talking
About
about.
thousands of producers.
Right,
Well,
Yeah,
you know what?
it's
Well, who says
democracy.
that it has to be limited to one channel?
Yeah.
right, that's, well,
You got to start somewhere, I'm
well,
saying.
so far, we only have 4 channels out of some 500 some odd channels that cable has. Why are we not pushing to increase that number? Because I'm sure that we have more producers than we have
That really depends.
airtime.
That
We are
depends on
pushing.
that depends on
We
the
are
franchise. Depends on a lot of things. It depends on
There-
how many channels that the cable companies are going to make available to us.
I mean, we're content providers.
Doesn't matter. It's up to the cable company. That's, you know, it really stinks, but that's the way it is.
That's in the franchise.
Yeah, we have to-
They are doing.
Yeah, they're negotiating now on trying to get more channels. Trust me, my boss, and I think I can speak for him, you know, wants as many channels as we can get.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
he's aiming for that.
Society wants that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, YouTube just put up their limit to a gigabyte now. A gigabyte 24 for an upload. And it's bandwidth's coming. The capability of having abundant capacity
Yeah, but
is
what I was-
there in terms of the technology.
But we don't
It's
control.
not that.
It's not. You know, I understand what you want, but we don't control the bandwidth. Unfortunately, the cable companies control the bandwidth right now.
Well,
So
that's,
all we got to negotiate with them
There's
in
going
order
to be
to.
some competition coming from Verizon now.
Yes.
There's going to be some market competition. There's going to be.
Well, I don't know if
expansion.
I don't know if that's going to be competition because you know, Verizon, you know, may not want to give us X amount of channels.
There's big issues there.
They are big issues. And my boss he's dealing with it every time you know, him and Zenaida and the whole
Yeah.
external affairs.
The
deals
night
with
is
it
on
every time he
tomorrow on MNN.
since we're talking about a wish list, a utopian wish list
Okay.
of what we want, I mean, we are providing content for these cable companies. Should we be getting some stuff back? I mean, what's our negotiating point? I mean, we're here and
Well,
we
the
have,
negotiating point is I
what,
think what the strategy that all the pegs are using, you know, when it comes to Verizon and Time Warner is that, you know, you're going to have to deal with us regardless. So you either, you know, deal with us nice or
what if they say they don't want us at all?
but they can't. It's too late for that. They, you know, they're past that point. Now it's about how much they want to give us. That's where we're at right now. You know, Dan my boss is dealing with trying to, you know, get more access channels because we know that we have, you know, a whole lot of producers. We got enough content. We don't have a problem filming. If we got 4 more channels tomorrow, we wouldn't have a problem filming.
Here's what we as producers would want. Aside from having more channels, for our own personal requirements, we would like to get discounts on equipment and things like that we can, you know, let's say I wanted to buy, you know, a new camera or a new computer or something like that.
They were offering it and they took it away.
Well, that's sort of,
They offered it for the staff and then they said, first they said we could
yeah,
have
I mean, you
Well,
know,
that's before my time, but
it. No, it's just recently.
really,
but we had, but
3
you know,
months ago.
do you know
3
how
months
much-
ago, who Who told you that?
They put it up on the internet, on the site, and I went down to IT, and they said, oh, no, it's not for producers, it's only for staff.
Well, that was IT equipment. You know.
No. To get it, you had to go through IT, so when I went to IT.
To get like a camera or something?
No, they were saying that we would, M&M would get, M&M does get.
Right.
I can't remember, it's 25% off on software and I don't know, 10 or 15 on the other stuff. But now they said it's only for the staff.
Well,
The
IT
staff
only
can get
deals with
it.
IT stuff. Engineering deals
No,
with...
this has nothing to do with IT. They turned it over to IT to process it.
But IT does not... If you went to IT tomorrow and tried to order a camera of somebody's on the staff, they don't go to IT. IT turns them right to engineering. We handle the purchasing of
Right.
DV-cam tapes cost money. The producers end up spending their personal money to buy all of this stuff, and it's very.
I mean, it's something that I can, bring up to my boss and we can entertain it. I'm not saying, yes or no at this point, but I mean, I will, bring that up to Dan as, seeing what we can do. I don't know what can be done, but,
I mean, it's turned into a very expensive.
and I agree, but one of the things I always hear is that the other access centers, you have to pay for classes.
Yeah, but that's something I would really like to bring up. ACAP would like to bring up. You do a franchising thing, they get money out of retainering the cable companies to meet cost, operating and capital costs out of the franchising, and then they charge producers. And it's for the producers that money is coming from the cable company.
Well, we don't charge it.
So you don't, but this is a model that should apply. Where are the best practices for the cable access system? They got people down in Texas that are charging people to teach them how to earn it. Why?
You don't have to go as
They
far as
should
Texas.
be-
You go
it
to
should-
Brooklyn, you go to the
It
Bronx.
should be able
You go to
be-
Queens.
It should be
They
able.
talk to media
It
like
should be
charge?
able to be.
They
It
charge?
should be able to be.
Right, we're the only ones that
Can
don't
we
charge.
get
It
back-
should be
can we-
able to be available to the people for free
Can we
because the
get back
costs
to
are
the
coming out of the
technical
franchise.
stuff?
I absolutely
I'm
agree,
tired.
and you're preaching to the choir.
Tyrone.
That's why we don't practice that.
The Panasonic deck you're talking about,
Yes,
that would go,
DVD recorder.
DVD recorder, that would go into your computer via a firewire, right?
I don't know if this model has FireWire. The FireWire is what I was looking for. They're pretty expensive. I don't know. I mean, you're not going to get one for under $500.
And
Because
it codes
if you
into
had one that,
Yeah,
if you had one that could go in like the camera goes in,
yeah,
you should be able, Final Cut Pro should be able to see it like it sees the
yes,
camera.
absolutely. But you would have to get one, and they make them. They're just expensive. That's why nobody buys them. No independent producer, kind of buys them. They'd rather just go through the way of making a tape and then laying off the tape to a burner, the traditional way. Because anything with a FireWire, whenever anything is easy, it's going to be more expensive.
By the way, they say that SATA is much faster than FireWire.
SATA drives?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're right.
Are they going to, I see on the newest Mac that they came out with, they're offering 15,000 RPM SATA drives.
I don't doubt that they are. I mean, I don't know if that's cost effective for anybody right now. I mean,
Well, they're only offering 300 gig drives, but being that they're offering it, I think that they're thinking of going that way.
well, why don't you wait till they increase the size of the drive?
I'm
Do you
waiting because
really have to have one right now?
No, absolutely not. I just got a new computer.
Okay, well, they're going to increase that. If they offer that at 300 gigs, probably in 6 months, they'll be offering that at, 1 terabyte.
But it's
That's the
also 15 RPMs instead of 72.
Well, it's 1,500.
15,000.
50,000, right. It's
Yeah,
double what it is. So that's good, though.
Overall,
I mean, that's quicker. It takes care of a lot of things. I mean, I had to go through, I had search far and wide when I was looking for a 72 for my laptop because, you know, traditionally they come 54 or 46.
Yeah.
You know, and I wanted my machine, you know, that was housing Final Cut Pro to be quick. It wasn't nothing wrong with, you know, the 54 that I had, but it's still, you know, it was better once I was able to find, you know, a hard drive, an internal hard drive that was like, you know, 72.
Maybe,
But I had to search far and wide for it.
maybe being that they're just coming out with it and the stuff that you're buying, we should investigate whether we should be going to 15,000 instead of 70.
You talking about as far as broadcast? As far as broadcast, SATA drives are slow. I use Blade servers.
And
Blade
how fast
servers
are they?
they're quadruple the time of SATA drives. But that's broad. I mean, I'm broad. You know, my service is a broadcast service. It's a different thing. You know, service Blade server technology is not going to be down on the consumer level.
No, I mean for the Final Cut Pro stations we have at M&M.
Well, I mean, we can look into it. You know, and you know, just so you know, and I go through this with. I mean, I was just not here, but you know, I like to just let everybody know is you know, I'm in constant contact with all, you know, the directors of the different departments at M&M. You know, I think we have a good team and we communicate, you know, better than it has been in the past. I'm pretty sure you guys can see the changes that's going on around and procedural changes that's going on that have been improved because, you know, we are a team now. So when, you know, you are suggesting something like that, I'll go back to Jeff and say, you know, what do you think about this? And, you know, Jeff and I go back and forth. But Jeff knows you know, and I trust him in getting an honest opinion. You know, if we can't make that move, there's usually a pretty good reason, maybe due to finance or due to some sort of operational. You know, it's not like it's just tossed out because we don't want to do it.
No, it's so new that I think it's preliminary, but just keep your eye on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, you know, like I said, I'll speak for Jeff right now. He's into doing anything that's, you know, new and improved. I mean, a lot of times he comes and asks, you know, me, you know, what I think about this, and do you think we're going to make the move to that? And I question him. We question each other just to make sure that we kind of stay on the cutting edge, because we want to be on the cutting edge. I mean, you know, we're in New York, you know.
It would be an embarrassment if we weren't.
Well, I think we've been behind, you know, I mean,
We've been behind with the
it's like, you know, for us to be just now jumping into, you know, the whole digital thing,
It's way behind.
Well,
it's kind of late for a station in New York. I mean, you know,
We were supposed
see, everybody, you know, you want to wear that tag that you're the biggest and the baddest and the boldest, but with that comes a sort of responsibility.
Sure it does.
You know, you go to the ACM conference, everybody's looking at you now.
ACM, what's it?
I don't know what it's
Alliance for Community.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So when they go to AC conference, now everybody's, you know, looking at what M&A is doing, what direction are they going?
Is that
How
true?
they doing
Is
this?
that true?
I think so. I think it is. I haven't been to ACM conference, but I think it is. I can just tell by the calls I'm getting from the chief engineers across the country.
We also want more recognition from broadcast industry itself. We don't get recognized as
Well, that's not an M&N thing. I mean, you know,
no. Well, I'm
we
just
can
saying
only-
we don't.
we can only-
As from ACAP perspective, we want the same recognition that any other broadcaster would get. We don't get public access programs in the Museum of Broadcasting or any of those other things. I mean, we're
Well,
on the fringe here.
That's something that, you
That's
know,
political.
it's political, but I mean, it's not an M&N thing. I mean, what we can do to help
I
that.
think we're more important than broadcast media that now.
Well, I don't
People
disagree
are
with
watching
you.
us. They're not watching the.
I don't disagree with you, but you know,
we got 5 companies owning the media, and
but M&M can't go out and tell the Museum of Radio and Television that, you know, all we can do is sort of find a way strategically to help promote public access television.
Yeah, it should be.
Which we're doing. I mean, that's why Raheem is doing, you know, all these promos, and we're trying to get it in the different medias and on, you know, coming up with promotional campaigns to spread the word of M&M, but we're not only spreading the word of M&M, we're just spreading the word of public access television as a choice.
Well, all right, but it's also, ACAP is trying to do that too.
Right.
And I am of the opinion, and I think it's worth noting, that ACAP, the producers, and access television is totally unique in terms of the larger economy and so forth, because it's the only system in communication where there was a provision from representatives of the civil society that there should be, by public, the P and PEG, that there should be set aside earnings from the private sector corporations that are making the money, not through taxes, not through government, which is the way the whole economy operates, but from civil society and an input in setting that up, so that the finances, instead of them retaining all their earnings as a company can do, and do their own feasibility and build out a market and put out products and everything, there's something set aside, a small little sliver set aside for the people. It's never happened in any other communications ever in the history of the world, except public access television. It's the only place where there was a provision for the people, and that should be understood as unique, because it's going to come and have an effect upon a whole lot. I think there's a great role for giving the access realm a unique place in communications, instead of us thinking we're poor sisters to the stars that are on the network. That star system, it's democratic, it's got a different thing, and I think it's going to become
MNN is not
Well,
even public access,
you know
it's
something?
community access.
I mean, like, if you're looking for the future and all of that, check this out.
Tell me.
YouTube
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah.
is public access.
No, it isn't.
What?
It's
Oh,
private.
let me finish. I know you're going to jump in, but it is. And
That's where it's going.
there's a difference in the quality of what we produce in public access. There's a certain amount of professionalism that is in public access that is not in YouTube. Anybody with a little camera and an upload can throw their garbage up there, and then
That's
YouTube
right.
owns it. At least you still maintain ownership of your content. And you do have a small, viable audience, and it does come on a scheduled time. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I understand what you're saying, but the biggest enemy here is the internet.
But we don't. No, I don't think so. I don't. It's a different.
It's not your friend.
It's a different.
How
It's a different.
MNN is community access, they don't even use the word public anymore.
They do. It's public
no.
access. It's, hey, it's not community. It's not CMG.
Read their
It's
contract.
not CMG.
It's not
P.
known as public
Well,
access.
and you go
They
into-
eliminated
if I get
the
into
word
my-
If
public.
you go into the
They
document,
eliminated the word
If I
public.
can interrupt here for a second, this is sort of taking a different direction.
yeah, from
Other
your
than,
technology.
I'm just offering my opinion by, in no way I have to do a sort of a release here. And it's the opinions of TYRONE STITH, not opinions of M&M.
Yeah,
I'm
right. Fair
representing
enough.
M&M. But I came to talk about technical stuff.
Yeah, he's
understand.
here to
But
talk
I
about
have to
technical
release,
stuff.
my company of my own opinions, because this is taking that type of, direction.
Oh, you
where
don't
this
want to
is
go there.
becoming opinionated and
let's
political, and
just-
Yeah.
I can't, I'm not in position to, represent M&M in that way, and that's not what my purpose is.
Yeah,
So,
we're not, we're
I don't understand,
listening
but
to you.
I have to publicly say that because it's being taken.
Dan
You know,
is here.
my
Well
boss
taken. He's
my boss
off
is
the
taking
hook.
care
Yeah.
of
Yeah, there-
negotiations in
that's a
terms
higher
of a lot of
pay
things you have
grade.
spoken, and just
No, it's,
I can say this though, that you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
we
that's
believe
what I
what you
appreciate.
believe,
Yeah.
but we're not in position to take care of all these problems. So these problems, or some of these requests, is kind of beyond our control.
When Dan was here, he said, I asked him about why is it not called public access, why is it called community? He said, because we're part of a CAO, which is a community access organization.
We're not going
And
to
that's how
talk
we get
about
funded.
that anymore.
Well,
okay?
Dan can talk about that because Dan is the
So
ED.
let's not waste
I'm the
our
MD,
time.
so I'm second in command. My primary, function is to take care of the
Yeah,
technical
let's talk
day-to-day
about the
operations.
technical,
So,
that's what
Dan is welcome to say whatever he wants because he's the boss.
Okay, so let's get back to
I wanna-
technical, what else are we doing technically?
yeah, what about?
Well, there's going to
I-
be.
I just want to mention that it is under attack but it has existed historically in other areas. For instance, it existed for 150 years at the City University of New York, where both the books and the tuition were free, and also we once had a public power company, Tennessee Valley Association, but also there are laws that are totally ignored by corporate and public institutions like the hospitals.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's a
the
fine-
hospitals
Look,
are
we only
required
have-
to take
we
care of the
only
poor,
Yes,
but they always try to slip out of it.
all right,
Okay.
good
Can we
job.
Good
talk
point.
about?
And I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah, let's not
you know.
use his
Let's-
territory.
Tyrone,
He wants
let's
techno-
not get
What about the
political.
difference between YouTube and Blip and some of the ways? How do we relate
How
to the whole
about
process of
M&M?
archiving?
How about M&M and
Well-
what Tyrone is here to talk about?
Well, not only that.
Well,
but
let's
that's
talk
relevant
about the
technology.
studio.
You know.
What, has anything
Okay,
been
go on.
changed? I see a different panel in the studio. What is
Okay.
that for?
You're looking at we're in preparation of adding the new router. So there's going to be another panel, like the same way you have the PACER panel where you have access in the studios to route certain things into your switching. There's just another panel, another router panel.
What will that be able to route into the switcher that is not routed now?
Pretty much, well, our router is going to be bigger. Our router is a 128 squared. Now, the new router is going to be 128 squared, so you have access to everything on the router. What we're going to give you access to is another question.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
You're not going to have access to my whole router, house router. 'cause
No, I'm
you don't
asking
really need it anyway.
No, I'm asking you what will be input. to the
I
switcher
probably
of the
would
router?
add, right now you have access to about maybe, 24 sources. That may be double,
When you
within
say
the router.
sources, what sources?
Or whatever, if you wanted to route DVDs, like I'm going to give you the ability that you not only can you route the DVD as a playback in your room, which is already going to be in your switcher probably, but you'll have the ability to take the other DVD in case yours breaks down from the other control if nobody's using it.
How about,
So simple things like that, I'm making it just a little easier to work around.
Right.
will there ever be the possibility where you could actually webcam somebody else in a remote location and throw them up there as an insert, like you recording your program and somebody's sitting on your webcam like this? And
You can
put
do that
it
now.
in set?
You can do that now.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Even that with
Yeah, we have the ability to do that now.
Okay.
But yes, we will, and probably be, since we now have the ability to take in remote feeds, so that's just like taking another remote feed, what they can do right now. If you're asking me, will it be actually, I don't think, the way you gotta do it right now is a little, convoluted, but I'm gonna, something like that could be put on the router, so you just route that to the switcher.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna also, your controls are gonna get upgraded too.
Good,
Okay.
wow.
Well, probably that's got to come behind, after Master Control is built and it's the firehouse, then I'm gonna double back and upgrade the control rooms at M&M.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to kind of like work on it at the same time, but that's what the priority list calls for.
Okay, we're gonna get a new switcher and I
You're
hope.
gonna get new switches.
And a new controller, because that controller is.
You're gonna get a new. Well, I don't know about the controller, but I ain't really look into that because
It's a joke.
I'm
It doesn't
actually,
work.
you talking about the controller, like the tape controller, like the DNF controller? Well, I don't know if it's a joke. Those are pretty, have always been pretty reliable,
No, they're not.
Well, maybe the ones we have,
Well, you know what?
the software needs to be
No, you know
updated.
what they're doing? They're teaching these people they go and they start the decks by hitting it with their finger. They don't even use the controller.
Well,
And that's what they're teaching everybody.
but
Nobody
see,
uses
Glory,
the
like I told you, I do not get involved
Well, they teach in the
with
manual.
procedures. I
That's
design,
not using
and I
it.
make sure,
That's disconnecting it.
I make sure that,
That's right.
everything
All right.
operates and
All right,
stays
but
maintained,
basically you just said that the controller has no problems. It has no problems because they're not using it.
Well, I'm just saying
I
it has no
use the
problem because it's
controller.
a pretty reliable,
Well, if we're not
Mate,
using it,
Why aren't they using it?
because they're teaching them, they're going up with their finger and hitting the deck
Why?
instead of
Why
using.
aren't they teaching
Because
to use the
they think
controller?
that, I don't know if they think we're too stupid or it just doesn't work.
I don't think they think you're too stupid. I mean, you do a lot of other things that, I mean, if you can control a switcher, you can control it.
With this controller, you can't insert.
It has an insert button on it. I have used DNF controllers while I was live, switching, you know, a basketball game, football game,
You're talking
with
about,
30 cameras.
you're talking about
You know,
the switcher. But you cannot stop.
I've used,
Let her talk.
You
Well,
cannot do, well,
let me
all
explain
right,
to you.
we don't have access to
Right.
it, and they do it, but we don't have access.
and I'm telling you that the DNF controller has the ability to do insert edits.
I know, but why can't we have insert? Because if we stop the tape, it breaks the tape.
I understand because you're doing an assemble edit. Is that what you're doing?
No, they won't let us do assemble. We're doing crash.
Well, I don't know.
Can you imagine a controller with crash?
Yeah, but there's got to be some reason, and that has to do with the procedures or regulations of, you know.
Before we upgraded this studio, we had a controller that worked.
All right, well,
We were using an edit controller.
okay,
A
I don't know
Sony
why.
edit controller.
I don't know why the change was. I really think that, and I can look into
But we,
whether the DNF controller is working properly first, you know, and that's my job.
all right,
You know, as
well,
far
just
as-
so you know,
Right.
nobody uses it. They don't even teach it. They press, to start the deck, they press the deck. They have someone go up to the deck and press it. I've never heard of that in a studio.
Well, first, I don't know about that. That goes on in a lot
Well,
of studios.
that was years ago. I mean, today they have controllers and you can start.
Yeah, I mean, like today.
I use the controller, okay? But it's very frustrating that I had to have a break in the tape and that I cannot go back the way I could 10 years ago at M&M when we had a controller.
Okay. Well, what kind of controllers did you have 10
We
years ago?
had an edit controller. We were using.
Like a Sony, like 950 or something like that?
We were using the edit controller in the control room, so at least I could stop the tape and I could pick up on the time code. This one you can't. You have to crash it.
Well, first I have to see if it's operating properly. I have never, like I said, I have never seen a DNF controller that.
Well, maybe we're not allowed. We're told we can only use it on crash. It's like taking two VCRs at home and going.
Well,
like
the
this.
first, like I said, the first thing, my first responsibility is to make sure it's operating properly. Then the next question is to ask.
It's whether or not they want to give us access.
It's first to check to see, you know, is there a reason, you know, that you're not being taught insert edit? And
Well, there's also no button on that thing to do it.
It's
There's
probably
no
old. It's
button.
probably, I'm telling you, it's probably not working properly. You know, so, but the whole, I'm telling you, when you have a DNF controller that's working properly, it's made to do insert edit. I have done them on DNF controllers. Live.
Well, you should be able to do it.
Yeah.
But there
It's
should be
probably,
a button for it if it's working properly.
There should be a button. You trying to tell me there's no button on?
Yes, I'm trying to tell you there's no button.
Well, I've never heard it.
Well,
That
you
must be a
look it
real
up.
early version, because most of, well, I mean, it could be in the window too. I gotta see. It's
Well,
somehow I forgot.
it isn't probably in the window, but
It could be
they
in the
won't,
menu,
they
should be
won't
said.
let us do it.
All right, well, it's something I have to look in to see whether it's operating properly first, because it may need to be fixed.
Yeah, there is insert in the window. That's the choice.
Well, then if
And there's assemble. Why can't we go on assemble?
I have no idea, Gloria. Like I said, I don't really get involved with the procedures. You know,
No, but
before I became managing director, that wasn't my job. I mean,
No, but
I'm a
this
little
is-
more into.
you're talking about state of the art. State of the art, you use a controller. You do not push a button on it. Can't push a button.
Well, that's actually, I'm trying to tell you, that's actually, I've been in different networks, and it's still, you know, it's convenience. You know, that's what that controller is. That controller is to do nothing but make things convenient, so that you don't have to sit at a tape deck.
Well, that's
You know,
state of the
But
art.
to say that there's no one doing that anymore, that's not a true statement. There's a lot of people still operating 1-inch machines, you know, by,
Oh, yeah, I
without
know,
remotes
but
and
we are
without.
supposed to be going digital, so
Yeah.
why can't we have a control?
What that has nothing to do with going digital, that's a remote access. That's what that deals with. But, you know, I understand your point. I mean, it's something I have.
I mean, it's something we had before
Right.
we upgraded.
Uh-huh.
We downgraded the control room.
Well, you, it's semantics, and you didn't downgrade. You got a updated piece, a remote controller. You don't have access to it like you used to have. So that's not downgrade. That's a change of procedure.
Could I make a comment as an older person? And so forth.
Just making a comment doesn't matter what your age is.
No, it's the point is the kids seem to know it, but I mean, like a computer. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with a computer that's really an upgrading possibility that's right there before you. But I have a hard time keeping up with all of that, and so I push it because I know how to do it. And I don't know how to do the other upgraded
Well,
things.
that's
a
it.
general,
They just
generic
have to
thing in the
let us-
world of technology.
Let us do it.
Yeah, but that's a generic thing.
Yes,
People
but you
bragging-
learn to edit and you learn to do it when you were taught.
Well, I know,
Okay.
but
I
just
understand
threw
what
it
you're
out.
saying,
For
Gloria.
general, I
And
just
if you're
threw it
not
out.
taught, you're not going to learn.
Like I said, I have to
Well-
first investigate if the piece of equipment is
Well, first of all,
operating properly. Then the next thing is to ask,
okay,
okay,
it's just the thing, we wouldn't have to edit. We wouldn't have to go up and edit if we had access to it. This makes everybody upstairs editing. And I keep telling people, why are you editing? Why? We never edited before. We used to do shows
Right.
and take them right. I still do my shows
And
that
that's
way,
what
by
I like
the
to
way. But I mean, you're making it necessary for them to edit. Before they wouldn't allow us to edit if you had done it in the control room. Now you have to edit because the equipment doesn't work.
well, if I guess I would imagine that you use the D&M controls to do rollings and deal with your tapes, or
No, they press the button. They run up there and press
I
the
know,
button.
but I mean that's what you're
ridiculous.
asking, like to have the ability to
Yes,
to
They
remote
do
your
have the
decks.
ability because I use them. I do my roll-ins from them.
Right.
I
And
do
the-
my roll-ins. But also, what I'd like to be able to stop the tape and go to the exact time code and
Do a pickup.
without having a broken tape.
I understand.
Okay, and in general with the technology, they should make it just a plea. Make it user-friendly. So you don't have to go through all kinds of
Everything
things
is
to make it so you can't
user-friendly when
remember
you
it
know
all.
how.
I mean, that's
When
it.
you know
Make
how,
it
it's user-friendly.
Yeah, but you have to go through and there's things you can do with it.
That's
why
because they
people
don't
resort-
teach you.
No,
Yeah.
because it's
That's
too
because you-
blasted
I know, but he
complicated.
doesn't
And
make
you
the
can't
equipment.
remember all those little
He just
things.
utilizes the equipment.
No,
Yeah.
but
But he
and
doesn't
I
make
think
the
I think there's something there, as you said, there is insert on the thing.
Oh, I know it is. I've used those things.
Yeah, but why are we doing press? It's the most primitive thing
Like
in
I
the
said,
world.
that is a procedure.
That's what they do.
You know,
I know it's what they
situations.
taught.
And
And I still
I'm not one
can't
to
figure out-
micromanage. I go and
You can
ask
go
my
home,
directors
do-
on
show me
certain
tomorrow.
things like that. But first, I have to make sure
Show me
the
tomorrow.
equipment is operating properly.
Yeah.
My next question is, okay, now how come, is there
We
a
are
reason
not
why
accessing.
you don't,
Wait a
they don't
minute.
give access to the producers? So I take things in steps. First, I have to, make sure that the equipment is working. I don't want to go ask, why don't you use it? Well, it's not working properly.
We
We got-
had
we
it
got- we
until
got the
about
point.
5 years
We
ago.
got the point. He can't change it. It was well noted.
All right,
We're
but you
going
know,
back at,
so
we're
you
going,
can look
we
into it.
haven't gone it, we've been on this like 10 minutes, going
Okay.
15.
All right, so
Don't
I'll
say
give you
it.
some of the upgrades
Yeah.
that's going to probably happen in the studio. Once we get to the point of upgrading the studios, they're going to be upgraded fully to the point of new cameras new studio cameras that will be
HD.
digital and you got digital cameras now. I prefer to get rid of them
Good.
soon. But the next cameras that we'll be bringing in will be SDI and HD. So it'll be so easy to change over. It's just
SDI
flipping the
stands
switch.
for.
What is that?
Serial digital
What is
interface.
SDI?
And what is it
Serial
mean?
digital interface.
What does it mean?
What does it mean in real?
Serial digital interface is trying to see how to explain this. I had to explain this to my son actually.
Oh, that's a problem. You ever talk to these kids, they know it all.
Well, it's interfacing like
Sending a language.
well, no, it's interfacing audio and digital to come out on one strand.
On one,
On one strand.
cable.
That has audio and video all wrapped up into one. It's actually
It's one
separate
what-
strands, but it's coming out
it's
on one connection.
cable with audio and video and
And a couple other things.
RGB,
Yeah.
all the colors like components and
Yep.
Everything
composite,
single
the
time.
difference between
That's why they say
components.
serial digital interface.
Right.
That's really
Okay,
good.
so it's like the difference,
That's
like,
very good.
Separate
It's
tracks.
done
it would be
Yeah.
composite,
HDMI
component,
and
and
compose,
SDR.
nothing.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But
And
it's why
And
SPI.
what's the difference between HD?
And well,
X-
HD,
SDR.
HD could be, 1080i, it could
So,
be 1100.
but that's different cables that are in
Yes,
different
that's
things in
included
that
in-
cable.
That's included. That can be included in there.
All right, so HD also has the different pixel thing.
Yes. Well, so there's everything has a different
Is that
pixel.
going to change, when you change to new cameras, is that going to change our audio inputs that we have? No.
Nope. Everything's gonna be the same. Just everything's gonna be. Our audio is gonna stay analog. We're not gonna go, with like digital audio. We're gonna keep it's cost effective for us to.
Tyrone, I want to say, Tyrone, I just want to say, I appreciate Gloria's knowledge and wisdom, and I think that we can benefit from her experience, especially in ACAP, because there is no doubt that M&N does have a mission, but we also have to become watchdogs of M&M, because, for instance, in orientation, I see thousands, hundreds of new faces all the time. Now, do they continue? Do they sort of graduate and really produce programs? Or do they, after the statistics are added up, do they disappear forever in the night? And it should be the job of ACAP to statistically find out how many people are benefiting from M&N on a long-term basis.
And get a picture of that of access across the country. These are things that are not for this session.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to the tech.
And
Okay.
Because
So what else?
this is the way you get more funding.
Yeah, that's what
by
we have to do.
raising
Yes,
those
that's
another
statistics.
level.
That's another issue.
That's
We're
yeah.
talking technical stuff.
You could talk to my boss and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
guide about that.
Could I ask
I'm
you a
interested in.
Tyrone, can you go on with the upgrade?
Okay.
Continue with the
It's
upgrade.
not much. Like I said, cameras will be replaced with HD capable cameras.
And the
How far out
audio
is
is
The audio's
still analog, right?
still analog, but I'm going to change the boards.
That's what
Okay,
I wanted to ask you then.
The audio boards will change to get more of an updated. I've noticed other things that you guys don't really use that we have started to use, and it deals with remotes. It's just that we don't have a mixed minus in that board now, and I wanted,
What is a mix
What is
minus?
that?
Mixed minus means that if you are on location, okay, I'm sending what's going out on the air is the mix minus you. So in other words, I send back, because you want to hear program, what's going on, I'm sending you the mix minus your mic. That's what mix minus means.
Good.
And our boards that we have in here, they're just not capable to do things like that. We're starting to move into those type of productions. And that's why I have to switch out the switches, because in the control you have a 1 MB switcher. And I think now productions are getting more intricate where you require to have more than 1 MB.
What is a mean?
That means a mixed effects pack. So right now you only have one. Okay, you have a key bus. Okay, they looked at switchers that had 2 and 3 MBs, and being a TD, it comes in handy if you're doing things like that 1 MB bus you can have as your effects bank, you know, as the input to your DVE or the input to your monitor. So if you want to do dissolves in the monitor that's on the set, you know, that a camera's looking at, you'll be able to route that into that monitor, and you'll be able to do dissolve.
Oh, if you do
That's
chroma,
just an example, but
if
it's a
you
lot.
do chroma key, you can only cut, you can't do,
Well,
and that may be
ME
something.
is not going to change that. It depends on how we wire it. Now, if I get a request that, and most likely I probably would have not even waited for a request to just wire it that way, but you'll be able to route what your foreground is and what your background is to the chroma key, and then you'll be able to just cut cameras in your foreground, cut cameras in your background.
And also,
You can't do that now because you only have one ME.
okay, and also, like if I wanted to put like on one camera, like the center camera, if I wanted to put like a character generator up on it and it stayed on that camera.
That's a matter of keys.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that you could, I know I've done it before in the past.
You can do that. You should be able to do that now.
I know, but I don't know how, and no one else does. I know you can do
Rich
it.
don't know how to do that?
What?
Rich don't know how to do that?
I've done it before, so I know it can be done.
Well, I can give you a quick little tip right now. If you want to go from camera to camera and keep up the same lower third, all you're doing is you're hitting the background button and you're switching. You're not hitting the key, you're hitting the background button, because you remember, as you hit the background button and the key, whatever's lit is hot. So if you are going from, I'll give you an instance, if you're going from, you got a lower third up on the CG, okay? You want to keep that same lower third and you're going to camera 2, but you got camera 1 on line. You're hitting the background. That's the button that should be lit.
Yeah, but there's, it should be lit for the whole show. I don't have to hit it every time I want it to stay.
That depends. Are you bringing it off and on, or you want to keep it
I
there?
want to keep it on camera 3 because camera 3 is a wide shot. So
Well, don't that switch has a downstream keyer.
Well,
If you
as
use
I
it down,
said,
if you're going to do things like that, you know, and you're going to keep something on throughout the whole show as a bug or something like that.
would you show it? Would you show it?
Well, I can't because I have to instruct. This is a request that have you asked about this?
Nobody.
It's not that I can't. I don't manage that way. I don't micromanage.
Nobody knows how.
Okay. Well, if nobody knows how, I will talk to Jeff and find out. You know, if nobody knows how, you know, and then see what we can do about, you know, showing guys. If it means that I have to walk in there for 5 minutes and show everybody, it's pretty simple.
No, you shouldn't have to do it, but just, I know it can be done because I've done it.
It'd be a good way for you to add a way to let these kind of questions filter up and through. Well, it happens informally.
I've been fighting for this for a long time.
How many years?
About 10.
Only 10 years. Be patient. Making a joke.
You said you had a question.
Yeah, when you say you're going to go to DVDs and digital format, and people start switching over, right? And you have B-roll. B-roll, you want to bring your B-roll into the studio.
You can bring it in on DVD or you can bring it in on tape.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
And
But remember,
Right.
only both of them record, only one plays back.
Of the
Okay,
DVD.
of the DVDs.
But we're going to be able to master a DVD in the studio.
Okay.
We're going to have
Okay, and take it
That
up.
has nothing to do with playing back. I just got to warn everybody because people see two DVD players / recorders and they think, okay, I can play back on both of them. And then when you can't play back on both of them, you'll say, oh, something broke. There's nothing broke. There's only one machine. It's going to be marked. It's going to say, play or record.
right now we have 3
Well,
recordings,
Sorry.
and we have 3 rolling decks. Will we have 3
Hold hands
recordings
up, Keith.
and 3 rolling decks again?
Uh,
players?
I'm only adding DVD recorders. I'm
All
not
right,
taking
but
away
will we
anything.
have 3 ways of recording, whether it be tape and DVD? Will we still have 3? Like right now we can record a tape and 2 VHSs.
Yeah. You
So
keep
will
the
you
VHS
replace
in
the
for a
2
while?
VHS?
No, it does, yeah, you'll be able to record a third way now on DVD.
So we'll be able to have,
I'm not taking away anything.
all right, so you're gonna keep the VHS?
Yeah,
Why?
for a while.
Like, I don't have to remove watching, I don't,
You
people
might
still
not let
record.
it be
All right,
there.
so
You
we're
can
gonna
always-
I mean, you know, that's up to you. We don't accept VHS anymore, but if you know, I have to keep it there.
It's a safety.
People might
It's a safety
bring in
risk.
something on a super VHS to roll in.
Yep.
Yeah.
People might
Okay,
want
so you
to
don't-
make a
right now we
record
will-
on a super VHS so they
Okay.
can take it home. I don't know.
So right now, we will have a record deck on tape, a record deck on VHS, and a record deck on DVD.
Yes.
And on the top, we had we had a record deck and 2 roll-ins. So what will the 2 roll-ins on top be?
I'm not changing anything. I'm adding. It's going to be the same.
So we're gonna be able to roll it on DVD and VHS and DVD. So you're adding a 4th deck.
Yes, basically.
That's what I want.
And what does DVD?
So when you say 2 DVDs, you went, one is a roll-in and one is a record.
No, you can
Well, both of them are
record.
records. Only one is the roller.
What,
Only one can play back.
What can I ask? Let me ask
So that
you.
means
So you're gonna have 3 decks, 3 DVDs?
no. Put 2 DVDs in. Each DVD is a player and a recorder.
Right.
Okay, they both do the same thing. But we only have enough room on the router for one of them to play back. So they both will record, but only one of the DVDs you'll be able to play back on.
Okay, so,
In addition to recording on.
okay,
Okay, let's-
so we could use it either to play back or we can record on
A
2
second
DVDs.
DVD.
Yes.
Yeah, let me ask
Okay.
a question before it goes out of my head because.
So in other words, you can do this. I'm sorry.
No, no.
One thing. You can, if you have a situation where you want to roll in on the DVD, you have a DVD you want to roll in, and you want to make a DVD record at the same time, you'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I have to say things before they go away from my head.
Go ahead.
And so I got it in my head, I'll get it out. How, we now can use.
But Howard, what about, I mean, these people are very nice. I haven't heard anything from.
Well,
You better say what you gotta say, Howard,
They-
because you're gonna forget.
I better finish
Right,
that. I'm gonna
right,
forget it
right,
by the next
Say it, say it.
Oh, I dropped it.
Say it.
Is that we now have, if I may, we have now the ability to use something. I don't understand that rule. Other people know. I don't. But you can use a source, a DVD source now.
Yes, because
What
we
are
only
we
have a
doing
player.
to bring that source DVD capability so that we can do roll-in footage from a DVD now? What is that we're using now? We don't have the 2 new direct recorders. What is that source?
It's just a
And
player.
why can't we keep that so that you can continue to copy 2 programs on DVD? One of which can go to broadcast, one of which you can take and put up on YouTube for yourself. I mean, one can go to the guest. You give the guest a copy of that, and then you can take the other one and give it to.
When I put in 2 DVD recorders, you're going to be able to do that.
Well, why don't we keep the source by which we're doing DVD now? What is that source that we can use to make DVD
It's
roll?
a player only.
Yeah, but why don't we just keep that into the system?
Why?
Because then you've got that's a third option. You can use that source we've been using for DVD input, and then you can still keep the 2
To
DVD
record, I
copies.
don't have enough spaces on the router.
Well, I don't know
Can a
what's
router
Robert.
come
It's a
with,
space issue on the router.
Did you say you
I would
were?
like to be able
Can
to
you
give
get-
the guest. Are we going to ever end up?
Well,
to
not
where-
on this router that you use right now.
When are we going to end up to where the DVD that's being recorded has a template that says program recorded is going to air on such and such a date that we give to the guest?
That's not going to be
no, like
M&M's.
something like
That's not-
lights.
That's not going to be
stars.
M&M's responsibility.
No, but then they
Right
could provide that too, and then they get back to their final thing where everything is provided totally free, not even DVD cost.
now.
And they could provide those to the producers, and then that's also tremendous public relations.
I don't know when they're going to
no,
do
they're
that.
not gonna do it, so
Hold your
let's
breath.
forget about
No,
it.
they may because it's in their interest.
They'll do it
It's
for
for
community
PR.
access, they'll
No,
do
it's
it.
in their interest.
Well, I'm not going to say that they're never going to do it. I don't know when.
Is it hard to have that just written onto the
No,
on the
it's
disc?
not
Well,
hard.
it's a machine, but I mean, you have to have the machine to do
Yeah, but
that.
I mean, okay, I'm just saying that I think that's where we're going to end up because it's PR to give the guest the program as they leave. and you don't want to lose that because you have the other one in order to go to YouTube. So I don't think we should so cavalierly.
Well,
I mean,
VR is not,
Well,
it's,
there's a
you know, that's
design-
another department, that's
There's
not my
a
department.
design
oh,
element.
P-
VR is not my
Yeah, but
department.
we're all one happy team.